If you're waking up feeling stiff, tight, or sluggish, this 20-minute hip and core mobility flow is exactly what you need to loosen up, improve flexibility, and build a solid foundation for movement. No equipment needed, just your body and a little space. Perfect for all levels. Whether you're a beginner or advanced, this routine will meet you where you are. We're focusing on hip mobility, spinal flexibility, and core activation so you can move better, feel stronger, and prevent stiffness throughout the day. Most people skip stretching in the morning and wonder why they feel stiff and sluggish, but you showed up today. And by the end of the session, I promise you feel looser, strong, and ready to take on the day. Let's hit the mat. A classic spinal mobility exercise to gently wake up your back and improve flexibility. Start in a tabletop position, hands under shoulders and knees under hips. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest and tilt your tailbone up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin and push through your palms, cat pose. Move slowly and synchronize your breath with the movement for 1 minute. This movement warms up the spine, improves posture, and releases tension from the lower back and shoulders. Beginners, keep the movement small and controlled. Advanced stretches deepen the arch and rounding motion for an enhanced stretch. Now let's sink back into child's pose to stretch the lower back and hips. A grounding and calming stretch to gently open the hips, spine, and shoulders. From tabletop position, bring your big toes together and sit your hips back toward your heels. Stretch your arms forward and lower your chest to the floor. Relax your forehead on the mat and breathe deeply for 1 minute. Child's pose lengthens the spine, stretches the lower back, and opens the hips, making it perfect for releasing tension. Beginners, keep your knees closer together for more back support. Advanced stretches widen the knees for a deeper hip stretch. Now that our spine and hips are open, let's fire up the core with bird dog. A core activation and stability movement to engage the abs and improve coordination. Return to tabletop position, extend your right arm forward and left leg straight back. Keep your hips level and hold for a second at the top. Slowly return to starting position and repeat for 1 minute on the right side. Bird dog activates the core, improves balance and strengthens the lower back, key for a strong mobile body. Beginners, keep your foot on the floor and slide it back instead of lifting. Advanced stretches add a crunch by bringing your knee and elbow together before extending again. Let's balance it out and switch to the left side. Same powerful movement, now engaging the opposite side. Extend your left arm forward and right leg back. Keep your hips level and engage your core to stay balanced. Move slowly and with control for 1 minute. This movement stabilizes the spine, strengthens the back muscles, and reinforces core control. All essential for reducing stiffness and preventing injury. Beginners, keep your lifted foot close to the ground for added support. Advanced stretches hold at the top for 2 to 3 seconds before lowering back down. Now that our core is fired up, let's open the hips with pigeon pose. A deep hip opening stretch to release tight glutes and improve flexibility. From tabletop, bring your right knee forward and place it behind your right wrist. Extend your left leg straight back, keeping your hips square. Lower your upper body down onto your forearms or all the way down. Hold for 1 minute and breathe deeply into the stretch. Pigeon pose targets the glutes, hip flexors, and lower back, areas that tend to be tight from sitting. Beginners, place a yoga block under your hip for support. Advanced stretches, walk your arms forward and rest your forehead on the mat for a deeper stretch. Let's switch sides and stretch the left hip. Now we're switching sides to balance the stretch and release tightness in the other hip. From tabletop, bring your left knee forward behind your left wrist. Extend your right leg straight back, keeping your hips squared. Slowly lower your upper body down, resting on your forearms or forehead. Hold for 1 minute, breathing deeply into the left hip. Tight hips can lead to lower back pain and poor posture. This stretch improves mobility and relieves tension in the glutes and hip flexors. Beginners, place a block under your left hip for added support. Advanced stretches, stretch your arms further forward and deepen the fold to increase intensity. Now that we've opened up the hips, let's add some movement with low lunge twists. This stretch targets the hip flexors while improving spinal mobility for a more open and balanced body. Step your right foot forward into a low lunge position, left knee on the ground. Place your left hand on the floor beside your right foot. Twist your right arm up toward the sky, following it with your gaze. Hold for 1 minute, breathing deeply and opening the chest. Low lunge twist stretches the hip flexors, spine, and shoulders, making it a great full body release. Beginners, keep your back knee directly under your hip for more support. Advanced stretches, lift your back knee off the ground for an extra challenge and deeper hip stretch. Now, let's repeat the twist on the left side for balance and symmetry. Time to switch sides and open up the left hip and spine. Step your left foot forward into a low lunge position, right knee on the ground. Place your right hand on the floor beside your left foot. Twist your left arm up toward the sky, feeling the spinal rotation. Hold for 1 minute, keeping the movement fluid and controlled. We spend a lot of time sitting or slouching, which can lead to tight hips and a stiff spine. This stretch counteracts that tightness and helps with better posture. Beginners, keep your back knee directly under your hip for more stability. Advanced stretches, lift the back knee off the ground for a more active stretch. Now that our hips are more open, let's lengthen the hamstrings with the standing forward fold. Let's lengthen the spine, hamstrings, and lower back with this simple but powerful stretch. Stand with your feet hip-width apart. Slowly hinge forward at the hips, letting your torso hang over your legs. Keep your knees slightly bent if needed. Hold for 1 minute, allowing your head, neck, and arms to relax. Standing forward fold stretches the hamstrings, lower back, and calves, making it perfect for relieving morning stiffness. Beginners, bend your knees as much as needed for comfort. Advanced stretches, try grabbing your ankles or tucking your hands under your feet for a deeper stretch. Next, we'll deepen the hip stretch with the frog squat. Now we're focusing on hip mobility and inner thigh flexibility. Stand with your feet slightly wider than hip width apart. Lower into a deep squat, bringing your elbows inside your knees. Use your elbows to gently push your knees outward. Keep your chest lifted and back straight as you hold for 1 minute. This stretch opens the hips, improves lower body mobility, and strengthens the core, making it a great full body activator. Beginners, hold on to a chair or wall for balance. Advanced stretches, rock side to side or lift one heel at a time to increase mobility. Now let's fire up the glutes and hip mobility with fire hydrants. Start in a tabletop position, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Keep your core tight and spine neutral. Lift your right knee out to the side, keeping it bent at 90 degrees. Lower back down with control and repeat for 1 minute. Fire hydrants strengthen the glutes, improve hip mobility, and support your core stability. They also counteract tightness caused by prolonged sitting. Beginners, keep the movement small and controlled to focus on stability. Advanced stretches add a resistance band around your thighs for more challenge. Now, let's balance things out by switching to the left side. Time to activate the left glute and hip for symmetry. Stay in a tabletop position with your core engaged. Lift your left knee out to the side, keeping it bent at 90 degrees. Lower back down with control, avoiding momentum. Repeat for 1 minute, keeping a steady rhythm. This move builds up hip strength, flexibility, and joint stability, helping with better movement and posture throughout the day. Beginners, move slowly and focus on controlled lifts. Advanced stretches, extend your legs straight after lifting to engage more muscles. Now, let's stretch out the hip flexors with kneeling hip sit-ups. This move combines hip mobility and strength, helping loosen up tight hip flexors while engaging the core. Start in a kneeling position with your knees hip width apart. Sit your hips back toward your heels, keeping your chest tall. Engage your glutes and core, then drive your hips forward to return upright. Repeat for 1 minute, moving with control. Kneeling hip sit-ups open up the hip flexors, engage the glutes, and promote better posture. Beginners, place a cushion under your knees for comfort. Advanced stretches, hold a light weight at your chest for added resistance. Next, let's mobilize the hips with semi-hula hoops. Time to add some fluid movement to loosen up the lower back and hips. Stay in a kneeling position, hands on your hips. Slowly circle your hips in a semicircle, forward and back. Move slowly and controlled, engaging your core as you go. Switch directions halfway through for balance. This movement enhances hip flexibility and relieves stiffness in the lower back. Perfect for waking up the body. Beginners, keep the movement small and gentle. Advanced stretches deepen the range of motion for a bigger hip stretch. Now, let's lengthen the hamstrings and spine with wide stance toe touches, one of my favorite. Let's focus on stretching the hamstrings, spine, and side body with this deep reaching movement. Stand with feet wider than hip width apart. Hinge at the hips and reach for your right foot with your left hand. Return to center, then switch to the left foot with your right hand. Continue alternating for 1 minute, feeling the stretch in the hamstrings and back. This stretch enhances spinal flexibility, loosens tight hamstrings, and improves core rotation. Great for posture and mobility. You're gonna feel fantastic. Beginners, bend your knees slightly if needed. Advanced stretches, I'm sure you know what I'm about to say. Add a twisting motion at the top to engage the obliques. Now, let's lengthen the spine with standing side bends. Let's wake up the side body and spine with this simple but effective stretch. Stand tall, feet hip width apart, reach your right arm overhead and gently bend to the left side. Keep your hips stable and avoid twisting. Hold for 1 minute, breathing into the stretch. Standing side bends that lengthen the spine, stretch the obliques, and relieve tension in the sides and shoulders. Beginners, keep the stretch gentle and controlled. Advanced stretches, extend your bottom arm down toward the knee for a deeper stretch. Now, let's repeat on the left side to keep things balanced. Time to stretch the opposite side and finish off with better posture and mobility. Stand tall, feet hip width apart, reach your left arm overhead and bend gently to the right. Hold for 1 minute, feeling the deep side body stretch. This stretch releases tension from one of the most overlooked areas, the obliques and lats, helping with better spine mobility and posture. Beginners, do the same as the other side. Keep the movement small and controlled. Advanced stretches, you already know. Add a small back bend at the end for a deeper stretch. There you have it, fam. A full 20-minute stretch to reset your hips, spine, and core. Your hips are open, your spine is loose, your core is activated. You're ready to take on the day. Keep showing up because consistency is everything. Remember, the best way to build flexibility and strength is to keep moving daily. If you spend a lot of time sitting or feeling stiff, this routine will be a game changer. Stay strong, flexible, and powerful. I'll see you in the next session. Let's go.